In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. In the fiery crucible of pre-Islamic Mecca, a city steeped in the traditions of its ancestors, a storm was brewing. A storm named Umar ibn al-Khattab. He was a man of formidable presence, whose very name evoked a mixture of respect and fear. Tall, broad-shouldered, with a piercing gaze that seemed to look right through a person, Umar was known for his uncompromising principles and a temper as harsh as the desert sun. He was a man of his time, a proud Quraysh, a warrior who believed in the honor of his tribe and the gods of his fathers. And into his world, a new message arrived, a message that challenged everything he held dear. The call of Islam, preached by the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, began to divide the city. To Umar, it was not just a different belief, it was anarchy. It threatened the social order, mocked the idols of the Kaaba, and splintered families. He saw the Muslims, a small and persecuted community, as a disease that needed to be eradicated. His hatred for them was not passive, it was a burning, active force. He volunteered to be their persecutor-in-chief, believing it was his duty to protect the ancient ways. One day, the flame of his fury reached its zenith. He had witnessed the growing defiance of the Muslims, encouraged by the conversion of another strongman, Hamza, the uncle of the Prophet. This was the final straw. Umar could bear it no longer. He resolved to perform a deed so decisive it would end the problem forever. He would kill Muhammad. He strapped on his sword, the cold steel a familiar weight against his hip, and marched out into the streets with the single-minded purpose of an assassin. His face was a mask of grim determination, his footsteps echoing like a death knell. As he strode through the narrow alleyways, a man named Naim ibn Abdullah, who had secretly accepted Islam, saw him. The murderous intent was plain on Umar's face. Naim asked, trying to mask his concern. Umar did not break his stride. He declared, his voice like grinding stones. Naim's heart froze, but his mind raced. He knew he had to stop Umar, but how does one stop a force of nature? He chose a diversion, a piece of information that would strike at Umar's very core. He said, his tone laced with deliberate provocation. Umar stopped dead in his tracks. He growled, his hand instinctively tightening on the hilt of his sword. Naim delivered the blow. The world seemed to tilt on its axis for Umar. Betrayal, not from an enemy, but from his own blood. The rage that was directed at the Prophet now turned inward, towards his family. He spun around, abandoning his original mission for a new, more personal one. He stormed towards his sister's house, his fury now a white-hot inferno. As he approached, he heard a low, rhythmic sound coming from within. It was a voice, reciting something he had never heard before. It was melodious yet powerful, unlike any poetry or prose of the Arabs. It was Khabbab ibn al-Arat, a companion of the Prophet, teaching Quran to Fatima and Sa'id. Umar burst through the door like a hurricane. The recitation ceased abruptly. Khabbab quickly hid in an inner room, but the scroll of parchment containing the verses of Surah Taha lay in plain sight. Umar roared. His sister and her husband stood frozen in fear. When they hesitated, Umar's temper exploded. He lunged at his brother-in-law, Sa'id, and when Fatima rushed to defend her husband, Umar struck her, a blow that drew blood. Seeing his own sister bleeding, a sudden, unexpected shame washed over him. The blind rage subsided for a critical moment, revealing a crack in his iron will. He looked at their faces, not just seeing defiance, but seeing a profound peace that he himself did not possess. His voice, though still harsh, lost some of its edge. He demanded, pointing to the scroll. This was Fatima's moment of incredible courage. Despite the pain and the fear, she stood her ground. She said firmly, "This was not an insult, but a statement of spiritual fact." Astoundingly, Umar, the mighty warrior, complied. He went and washed, and then returned to take the parchment. It was a gesture of submission, small but monumental. He unrolled the scroll. The words were from the beginning of Surah Taha. He began to read, his voice a low murmur. "Taha. We have not sent down to you the Quran that you be distressed, but only as a reminder for those who fear Allah." He continued, verse after verse, each word landing on his heart like a drop of water on parched earth. The words spoke of the greatness of Allah, the Creator, the one who deserved all worship. They were words of power, of mercy, and of undeniable truth. A transformation was occurring, seismic and silent. The hardness that had defined him for decades began to shatter. Tears, unbidden and unfamiliar, welled in his eyes and streamed down his face. The mighty Umar was weeping. He looked up, his voice thick with emotion, and whispered. In that moment, he knew. This was the truth. This was from God. Hearing this, Kebab emerged from his hiding place, sensing the profound change. He exclaimed. The pieces fell into place for Umar. This was not a coincidence, it was a divine plan. His journey of hatred had been redirected by a power far greater than his own. Filled with a new, overwhelming purpose, Umar stood up. He declared. He strapped his sword on once more, but this time, he was not going to kill the prophet. He was going to submit to him. He marched through the streets of Mecca, a man reborn. His destination the house of Al-Arqam, the secret meeting place of the Muslims. When he knocked on the door, a companion peered out cautiously. Seeing Umar armed and at their doorstep, panic ensued. But the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, possessed a courage that surpassed all. He gave the order. As Umar entered, the Prophet rose and met him in the middle of the room. He grabbed Umar by his cloak and asked with firmness and grace. Umar looked into the eyes of the messenger of God. All the anger, all the pride, melted away. In a voice that resonated with newfound faith, he uttered the words that would change history. A moment of stunned silence was shattered by the triumphant cries of the believers. The sound was so powerful, so full of joy and relief, that it was said to have shaken the foundations of Mecca. From that day forward, Umar ibn al-Khattab was no longer the enemy of Islam. He was Al-Farooq, the criterion, the one who distinguishes between truth and falsehood. His conversion was a victory of immense proportions. He immediately demanded to pray publicly at the Kaaba, and for the first time, the Muslims did so with a protector whose strength none could challenge. He became the rock upon which the Muslim community would lean, a wise leader, a just ruler, and a humble servant of Allah. The man who set out to destroy the faith became one of its greatest pillars. His story is an eternal reminder that guidance is in the hands of Allah, and He can turn the hardest of hearts into the softest of believers. Brothers and sisters, if we have made any mistakes, we ask Allah for forgiveness. May He grant us knowledge and wisdom. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this video. Jazakum Allahu khairan to each and every one of you. To be continued.